Hello everybody, how you doing? Let me do something right now. Let me take care of something. Yes, Blue Shed, yes. Does the audio sound, test 1, 2, 3, 4. Is the audio good for everybody? Have a breaking weather here. Hello, sounds good, great. Okay, so just got word that the Hurricane Center on the 1 o'clock advisory will come out here in the next 5-10 minutes. They're going to upgrade to Hurricane Nicole. That's why I wanted to put that in the headline. So they're going to issue a hurricane. It's already hurricane warnings in effect, but they're going to upgrade it to a hurricane. I understand at the 1 o'clock advisory Eastern time. So it just cleared Abaco Island right here. Marsh Harbor, the center went over Marsh Harbor, 985 pressure, winds at about 70 knots now. And it's clearing the ice coming out here. So we can see it if we go over here to the long range Fort Lauderdale terminal Doppler. This is the terminal Doppler, not the AMX of Miami or not the Melbourne radar. But if you go to the Fort Lauderdale terminal Doppler, the hurricane on the extended range, you can see the eye now. So we'll draw it in here. And basically, the eye went over right over Marsh Harbor. You can also look at the other eye. The eye basically went over. The eye went over this, and it's basically right in here right now. And the eye's coming out over the harbor, and it's just barely to the west of Marsh Harbor now. It's right in here, and the track is probably going to be unchanged. We'll know here momentarily on the next 1 o'clock advisory coming in here soon, and still expect to make landfall. This general area as Stewart to Port St. Lucie in this general area, right in this area right here is where it's going to make landfall, and that's probably going to be around midnight to 2 a.m. Yep. So these outer bands get here and start coming in here. They'll start getting a little bit stronger winds. Every time a band here comes in, I'm going to take you outside here in a minute and show you the waves. They're pretty big. So the wave heights are getting larger, and when these bands here start coming in here, probably in the 4 o'clock area, we're going to have 50 gusts to 70, and then we're going to have 75 gusts to 100, 110 when this main core eye comes around. As this starts approaching the coast, and that's going to be closer to about the 10 p.m., 10 p.m. Line when this big, heavy 40, 50 dBZ come right ahead of the eye. As I start approaching the coast of the east coast of Florida here on the southeast coast, that's when we're going to get these 75 to 100 plus mile gusts. Again, Jupiter on up north here, Port St. Lucie in this area, Fort Pierce, this area right in here. Expect the winds to really ramp up after we get in there. Let me see if the Hurricane Center has got their advisory out yet. Should be out any second now. Waiting for it. Here we go. Let's see. Okay, that's an older deal. Just waiting. It's any minute now. We're going to have the official upgrade. Waiting for it to hit the wire. Pressure's falling. Don't see it out yet. My understanding is we're going to have an upgrade to hurricane momentarily. Waiting for the official word for the forecast center. Yep. So I don't have that. So let's go out here and let's check out the, let's go out here and see what I'm seeing out here just at the coast here. Let's see what we got here. At times we got the sun coming out and you get breaks and you get some squalls come by, ripping by. And we're down south here. Like I said, guys, I'm trying to down here at Hope Sound is where we're at. Right? Let me take you out here. You see people underneath the cliffside here and people looking at things. Here's the water. Remember, right now we're at low tide. So you're not going to, the water's down, right? Because this is all wet from high tide this morning. See how wet it is. Also, we've had rain move through here and showers. Very heavy bands just southeast of the coast now. As soon as those come on shore, you're going to start having winds sustained 50 gusts to hurricane force as we get closer to 5 o'clock. 7 o'clock tonight, there'll be hurricane force winds moving ashore. Yeah, still tropical storm right now. That's correct. It's still tropical storm. Expected to upgrade to hurricane on the 1 o'clock advisory is what I've been told. Let's see if that verifies. So right now we're about low tide. This is all very wet. This is high tide. Sand's blasting my legs. Stings. Even with sand hurts. So you can see the Hope Sound down south here, south of Fort Pierce, and south of Stewart, southeast of Stewart. Yep. Like I said, it's low tide right now. Unfortunately, the hurricane's going to be making landfall during high tide tonight at about around 1 a.m., 2 a.m. So as the hurricane approaches during high tide, we're definitely going to have some storm surge. And I understand parts of Martin County, which is where I'm at now, Martin County Sheriff just a few minutes ago put out that they're closing the Outer Barrier Islands. That part of Martin County, there's cars being flooded now. I don't know if that's north or south of me, but in Martin County, there's cars being flooded by storm surge and overwash. They're closing the Outer Barrier Islands on Martin County, closing the bridges. And that was 5 minutes ago from Martin County Sheriff's Office. But this will come up enormously as we get in after 5 o'clock, and especially as we get until 9, 10 o'clock tonight, this water will come all the way up. And I do expect the water will top these dunes here at 9 o'clock tonight, not before 9 to 2 o'clock. The water's going to overwash this area right in here, providing the hurricane is in the airport. If we have an offshore flow northwest, it'll push the water out, right? If we're on the southwest part of it right here, it's supposed to make landfall just barely north of us here. Some of the models actually bringing it right here, and of course the track's just north. I think it's about 15 miles, about 15 miles north of here. I'm heading back to the vehicles, see if this rock clock advisory, see what they say. It's not too bad right now. Again, I think it's really going to come down to the waves. Wave action, storm surge, the wave action, the big battery waves along the coast is going to be the big story of the day. Yeah, we appreciate you hit the like button. Let's go see if this. No, okay, let's see. Still about 5 minutes early here, so should have it out. Still 10 a.m. advisory. It's going to be a couple minutes here. Here's the radar loop. Hang on a second. Here's the Bahama radar loop. Here comes the eye. Watch the eye. It's going to go over Greater Abaco. This radar's, look, that goes right over Greater Abaco. And that's probably about 30-minute old loop. So now it's past here, and it's brought right in here on the eye. Watch the eye. Boom. See how all the western side has got those heavy cores in it? That's when it gets here. It's going to ramp up. Just waiting for the 1 o'clock advisory. Okay. Water is, hang on a minute. I don't know what that is. I don't even want to comment. That's a bench. That was debris. It looks like a shark or something. It's not. No, I'm not at Coco Cay Beach. Stewart Beach, South Hutchinson Island's got overwash over the sand dunes is what you're seeing here. That's overwash over the sand dunes in Stewart Beach. That's just barely north of me. Okay, waiting for the. Okay, there's getting multiple messages now that we should go to upgrade to hurricane. Just waiting for it to hit the feed here. Any questions people need answered? Let me make sure to share the chat. Still waiting for the update. So the big thing is it's going to be, as we get into it this evening, right now, here's where I'm Hobbs Sound right here, or Jupiter Island, Stewart area, Jensen Beach. We're getting some overwash out here. This area in general areas where it's going to make landfall. Yeah, there are evacuations that are starting to close. Hutchinson Island out here, they're getting overwash. You can probably almost see it where the roads are going orange. You know, Jensen Beach area, there's some overwash out here now occurring per the sheriff. The other big thing is overnight and tomorrow morning, as the hurricane makes its way up toward the Kissimmee area, up in its general direction like this overnight, get up here to Lakeland, and it goes back, it enters back, goes north of Tampa, it looks like up in here, and goes out in the Northeast Gulf right here. Doesn't expect to probably be a tropical storm right through here, Apscola. That's tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon. When it passes down south here, and you get all these winds on shore, east, southeast, switching from deep northeast to east, southeast, you'll still have storm surge. And there's a big area of dry slot convection. Let's go to satellite, and I'll show you what's going on there. And there's the radar. Let's go bring up got a special satellite I like to look at. That's pretty cool. How's everybody doing today? Satellite. Wave, it'll clear, okay? There's satellites loading and see what we see here. It's continue to come up. Look at the intensity. Yep. Look at the explosion now occurring, which is exactly what some of the models said. It says once it clears this and gets just south of Freeport, right in this area, you should see steady, rapid intensification. And several of the models drop anywhere from 10 to 18 millibars from here to there. So the pressure should continue to fall this afternoon. Winds are going to come up, and then we're going to have we should have a hurricane. It's 1 o'clock, so the advisory should be out. You see the intense convection now. It's cleared the island. Look how it's exploding again. So it's getting better and better. We're going to have upgraded. Okay, should be upgraded. Yeah, any second now. We're expecting the. Let's go to visible while we're on this page. Let's just jump over here to visible real quick, and let's watch this high res visible half kilometer. Oh yeah, look at that. Look how pretty that is. So I'll tell you this. This is already setting the stage for what tomorrow is going to happen tomorrow too. So as this fills in, this is dry air all south of it. The models are handling this really well. This dry air back south, even though this is going to intensify and get deeper. So tomorrow, as this part here is back past Orlando, all this dry air with these feeder bands that are to the northeast, about 200 miles, those will cross northeast Florida and Georgia tomorrow, and these are going to be prolific tornado producers. Prolific tornado, Jacksonville, northeast of Orlando, Jacksonville, and to southeast Georgia. Expect a lot of tornadoes tomorrow. In fact, I expect damaging tornadoes tomorrow, all the way from Jacksonville, north of Milburn, northeast of Orlando, all the way up to Jackson, up into the whole southeast coast of Georgia. I expect significant tornadoes tomorrow. Matter of fact, let's look at that and see if that's out yet. No, we're still ahead of that. It just issued. Here's day 2. That's what I'm going to tell you. Boom, look at the 5% tomorrow. Almost Tallahassee, Jacksonville, Savannah, Charleston. Look how large this 5% is for tomorrow, right? Look how big that 5% tornado is tomorrow. That's for tomorrow, day 2. And let's go back here. Let's go here. Let's go visible. And let's go back to NHC. See if we can get them to, should have it out. Sometimes when the new advisory comes out, it takes just a few minutes to get updated on the web, because it's still got the 10 a.m. That's what happens. Sometimes it takes just a little bit of time. Sometimes it gets bogged down. Everybody's hitting it. Let's go back to Twitter. Let's see if we got anybody updates. If you guys see it before I do on the source, let me know. Yeah, damage is occurring at Daytona Beach. Some restaurants, looks like some asphalt's getting eaten away. It looks like some buildings are starting to break off. Yep. Yep. Yeah. When you check the website, you got to make sure it's the 1 o'clock advisory. They still, last time I checked, they still had the 10 o'clock online. Still waiting. Let's see here. Okay. Hurricane hunters are in the storm now, have been for a while. Still no update on the 1 o'clock. It's a few minutes late here. Oh, I still have all the graphics result from, okay, there we go. Some of it's starting to trickle in. Still have the 10 a.m. advisory. Some of the maps are starting to update, but I don't have the new information yet. Okay, let's see, 1 p.m. Okay, there it is. Well, I got part of it. 1 p.m. Still calling it tropical storm. Okay, they did not update it at 1 o'clock. 1 p.m. it shows tropical storm Nicole, did not go hurricane. So the information I got was incorrect. Okay. Tropical storm. Okay, South Florida. Talking about hurricane warnings. I'm just looking at what they're showing here. Sure, trying to get the physical discussion. Okay. So don't have the discussion yet. It's running behind, which is not unusual. Yep. Here's a guy showing a lot of possible tornadic storms tonight over the East Coast. This is all the models combined showing you possible tornadoes. This is the hurricane approaching. It's got a lot of water spouts over the water tonight and coming up. Still a lot of damage going on at the coast. Daytona Beach, a lot of huge pounded waves. Some of the buildings are starting to get encroached, and some of the walls right next to the buildings are falling into the ocean now. Daytona Beach, which we kind of thought would happen. It's kind of forecasted. Gotta stand by here a second. I'm going to check another source here. Yeah, I'm showing still tropical storm. Nicole did not have hurricane on this 1 o'clock advisory. At this point, it's almost one and the same. You've got, it's 70 miles an hour. They have it as a hurricane by 7 o'clock tonight. And they've got it making landfall just literally on the north side of Stewart. They basically have it making landfall at Jensen Beach, which is north of me about 8 miles, 10 miles, not very far. They have it making landfall at Jensen Beach. Here's that's the, I believe that's the 1 o'clock advisory. Matter of fact, I know it is. As Freeport, that's where it's at now, just east of Abaco, Freeport, and then you can see where it's going to make its track. That's just north of West Palm, south of Fort Pierce, Vero Beach, as well as out this morning. Comes up to southwest between Tampa and Orlando, kind of over Lakeland area again. This clips the northeast corner and then takes off north from there. This is the 1 o'clock advisory. So it looks like we're going to have to wait till probably the 5 o'clock advisory to get a hurricane. We'll see what the hurricane hunters out there continuously. So we'll see what happens. I will tell you on satellite, it looks really just in the last 30 minutes. The satellite presentation is quite remarkable. I mean, it's if you look at the deep, heavy convection now, look at the overshooting tops. They're very deep, heavy convection now. Yeah, 4 p.m. Excuse me. Yeah, that's right. 4 p.m. advisory. Forget about the daylight savings time. Switch back. Yeah, 4 o'clock advisories. We'll have to wait 3 hours and we'll see if we'll have it on the 4 o'clock advisory. But very deep, heavy convection there now. So it shouldn't take too much longer before we get the go ahead and commit to a hurricane. what I'm impressed with is look at all these deep, really cloud cold tops now as it's cleared down. Look how this dense overcast has gotten way bigger now just in the last hour. Look how, if you watch the last 6 hours, you watch the loop, look how the dense overcast is now really expanding. Yeah, we're going to have a hurricane. Just FYI, there are some models. I'm not saying it's going to be a Cat 2, but there are some computer models that try to make a run at Cat 2 right before landfall. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a high 1, but some of the models do try to make a run at Cat 2. And transparency with you, I think a high 1's likely, and it could get a little bit higher than that. But you can see it's all the models from last night, all the hurricane models and other models and special tropical models, kind of the new test models they're testing. They're pretty much say it was going to hold at 985, 980 through this area. And then once it gets in this area right here, just south of Freeport, near Freeport, as we get to the 6, 7 o'clock hour from there to landfall, that last 8, 10, 11 hours, pressure falls rapidly all through here. It falls about 10 to 12 millibars. So it should be somewhere in the 970, 70, 72, could be in the upper 960s, probably in the lower 970s, and before it makes landfall. So we should have a solid Cat 1 at landfall. But I can tell you on satellite presentation right now, it looks really good. It's you see this dense overcast exploding. By the way, this is very warm water right here. Very warm water. Hasn't been worked over this year from the previous storms in going up to the west coast and off to the north there. So this is very, very, very warm water. So we should have very good information. I think you should see. Don't be surprised. The models actually show like an eye. Well, they said on the last recon they got a 25 nautical mile eye on the vortex message about 45 minutes ago. So they do have a closed circulation eye. Can't see it in the dense overcast yet, but they are reporting a 25 nautical mile eye. And the models say we go to about a 10 or 15 mile eye as it emerges south of Freeport here. And tonight we're going to see an eye form on the same, both in IR. We're going to have an eye start forming somewhere right near Freeport. It's going to come all the way up. So I'll be watching the eye only, right? And then obviously looking at radar, this is Fort Lauderdale terminal Doppler. It is not the Melbourne radar, and it's not the Miami next rad. This is a terminal Doppler on extended range. And if you just look at you're seeing on satellite how look how all this new convection is exploding. And that's kind of what we're seeing on the radar, right, on the satellite, right? This big, massive explosion of new convection. It's getting 30 to 45 dBZs, and the center is about right here is where the eye is at. And so as this intensifies and continues to intensify, comes east, we'll be able to switch to multiple radars along the east coast. From Melbourne next rad, then you have the Pine West Palm terminal Doppler, and then we've got Fort Lauderdale terminal Doppler. We've got the Miami terminal Doppler, and we got AMX next rad, which sees out farther right. So we'll have multiple 3 or 4 radars here to look at the eye. I'm not really watching the models anymore, and really, in some respects, I almost kind of you got to watch the hurricane forecast for official. But when you're out in the field chasing, I'm all about radar. From here to the rest of the day to landfall, I'm all about radar. I don't care what anything else is showing or saying. It's just give me the radar, and this is absolute. It tells me exactly where it's going. And one of the things we'll do once it gets closer, it's hard to do right now. But here's one of our tricks we do is that I can put about where it's at now roughly, and if I back it up on the eye, and it was back over here. What you can do once it gets closer on the radar, this will where the eye was 2 hours ago, where it's at now, just draw a new circle and it kind of tell me the direction of movement, right? So at some point, once we get to the west of Freeport here, as the eye comes west, it'll do this roughly. It's gonna be ballpark, not exact, and it's gonna do something like this, right? Something like that. It's about what it's gonna do. But with all the radars here, we'll be able to see the eye really, really, really good. At 5 o'clock on, you'll be able to see the eye, you'll be able to see with extreme detail, and you'll be able to watch the eye. If it's 25 miles now in the opening, just give you an idea how big 25 miles is that if you had a 25-mile eye roughly that's 30. Then it's going to it's like 25, roughly like that, right? So we got a 23, 25 mile eye. So it's a big round eye, right, back over here. So it gets closer. If we watch this eye close tonight at 5 to 10 to 11 o'clock, you watch the eye get smaller and smaller. It'll probably get down to around a 10, 15 mile eye as we get over here, as it gets past Freeport and starts approaching the coast. The eye is going to shrink from 25, and it's going to go down smaller and smaller. And then we'll go to Cat 1, maybe a high Cat 1 or a low Cat 2 as it comes in here. So Cat 1 is what's forecasted. We'll stick with that for right now, since it's not a hurricane right now, and we'll see how strong it gets. Okay, that's kind of update for right now. I'll get back with you later. I will tell you that there's a couple observations. They're reporting wind damage just came in. Let's see what happened here. Port St. Louis, okay, lawn furniture, wind damage, lawn furniture, nothing big. So things are starting to blow around a little bit, nothing too bad. But the winds will pick up as the evening goes on. Just looking at the mesonet here, different 52 mile an hour wind gusts at Summer House recorded wind gusts, and people just showing water coming in. Daytona Beach has got damage occurring into restaurants, and looks like a restaurant has partial restaurants fallen into the water. It's collapsed, and which is to be expected, right? That's it. So I will be back in touch with you guys a little bit later. And again, nothing too crazy out here right now. This is in between waves. Winds are 30, sometimes gusts to 55, tropical storm, and the winds are building. But as we get after dark tonight, things will get much more dangerous with debris on the road. Storm surge, water inlets, and things like that will get worse as the evening goes on as well. Okay, that's it from Southeast Florida, hurricane warning. All right, thanks for tuning in. Bye.